Hi FlossTube! Welcome to my channel. My name is Geraldine and it is FlossTube number 10. Today is February 10th, 2023, and I'm here for a little bit of cross-stitch and crafty chat. It's been about a week and a half since my last video. I left that one a little bit hasty, and I'm sorry about that, but I was juggling mom things along with being able to find the time to film. So I'm glad to be back. I didn't have time last weekend to film, which was okay, but I did miss chatting with you. For those of you who are new here, my name is Geraldine. I go by Xstitches on Instagram and my channel name as well here. I live in West Michigan. I love all things crafty. I've been cross-stitching for about 15 months, and that's pretty exclusively what I do. I do a little bit of sewing and quilting, mostly in support of cross-stitch currently, and a little bit of knitting too. But I think today you're mostly going to see some cross-stitch. So a couple things that I wanted to talk about before we get too far into the video. There's going to be quite a big elephant in the room. Those of you who know me know that I stitch in hand using the sewing method, and I'm going to start showing you my whips, and they're going to be in scroll frames. I don't want to get into that too much here. I'd want to do a special separate video about that because I think I found a little bit of a niche area that I struggled to find information about through searching YouTube for FlossTube. I did put a couple posts on the Homespun Facebook group and also Off the Grid Needle Arts Facebook group. I got some great responses. A lot of stitchers saying, I don't think that would work for stitching in hand. A few people saying, I do that and I love it. And so thank you to everyone who responded. But because things like this tend to get buried into like FlossTube videos, if I share this, just a second. So if I were to put something in this video, one, it would make this video a lot longer, and we all know I struggle with keeping these fairly brief, but also it would not make it as easily searchable, and you'd have to dig through to find that information within my FlossTube. So when it comes to tutorials or like special topics, I kind of want to keep that separate and I'll put it in my tutorials playlist. So look for more information on that. The other new thing is I'm filming with a new setup. My husband bought a camera for another purpose, and we haven't used it yet for that purpose. We want to be able to do some things in our community, sharing some information, and so that's what the camera is for. But since I was filming today, I decided that I should give it a go, see how it works for me. Maybe we can use it for a double use, and also just to get familiar with it before we need to get things moving with its other purpose. So yeah, the other thing that I want to talk about before we get into stitching is a little bit difficult. I'm going to try to have the best words possible, know that it's with the best intent. I want my channel to be a place of respite and retreat from all of the things and the drama that go on in our world, because that's what cross-stitching is for me, and I want that connection here. That being said, in order to make this place a safe place for everyone, there are going to be times where I have to talk about some things. So in my last video, I talked about a certain author and her franchise, and I talked a little bit about how I don't agree with that opinion, but that I wasn't going to let her have control over that part of my life and the nostalgia that is associated with that franchise. There's been a little bit more, unbeknownst to me, since I posted that video, there's been a little bit of resurfacing of that topic. Some trans stitchers and advocates have shared their views and their opinions on why they feel it's important not to support that franchise, and consider yourself an an advocate or an ally for that community. So I have listened to them, and I have made the personal decision for me that I will no longer be supporting that franchise with my money specifically, and also the fan community around that. And to just not go into it too much, the idea around not supporting the fandom that comes with that is it just perpetuates the franchise. And so even if that money isn't directly going to that author, perpetuating that franchise could lead others, other purchases, and me showing my support for that, whether through it's a maker or with things that are associated with that franchise or directly from that franchise, can make individuals who that author has not supported but has come out against, makes them feel not safe here, and that's not what I want. So forevermore on this channel, none of that will be here. I have not at this time decided to remove my videos because I feel like my reference is fairly small within my videos previously. But if you feel if you feel differently, feel free to comment on that. And I'm not going to go into a ton of it because I am a cis woman, which means that I identify with the gender that I was born or assigned at birth. Excuse me. And so my experience is not the trans experience. And so I'm not going to tell you my experience, my interpretation of their experience through them and how they're feeling about this particular issue. I'm going to point you in the direction of those individuals to get the information from those people living that experience. And so down in the comments below, or the details below, I'm going to, you probably already know, this FlossTuber, D's 20 Stitches, is who I received most of my information, or at least the connection to, them sharing other trans people's posts and their own perspective. So I'm going to link them below and just leave it there. I also will, in the description box below, link Dee's Stitch for Pride information. They shared a video that explains everything about Stitch for Pride, which is now a smaller segment, year-long learning with different topics. Last month was about, I think we read a book from a trans author. I did it way at the beginning of the month, so I don't remember specifically what I did, but I did find value in that. And then I have not done this month's prompts yet. I plan to do them this month, and I believe it has a combo along with, sorry, my brain just went completely blank. So it's in combination with Black History Month. So I encourage you, if that's something you're interested in, to check it out. It'll be in the description box below. Yes, so moving on to stitching, I don't have any finishes, and I have one new start, so let's start there, and it's a good segue because it's a Black History Month start. I talked about this on my last video. I officially started it. I don't know that I have the cover photo of it. I just have the chart, which I purchased from Nuri, this Shaded Stitchery. It's a Gumroad link. The link was in my video from last time. And it is based on an exhibit at the 1900 World's Fair that was led by W.E.B. Du Bois. And so it's called Portraits in Paris, I believe is the name of the pattern. This is the book that I got that is talking, that Nuri got the information from all the different pictures. So I wanted this is a little bit of haul, right? But I wanted to understand more than just the pictures and the information that Nuri is sharing, which is wonderful. So every day we stitch one or two of the little graphics that Nuri took from the exhibit and made into a cross-stitch interpretation. It's really neat to watch along because Nuri is stitching it this year in like alternative stitches, so different types of stitches other than cross stitch, and also beading, and all. It's just really neat. But this is where I am so far. I did not get yesterday's done. We've had lots of, I have not stitched this last week and a half as much as I'd like to. I only missed one day officially of not stitching at all. But so I have not done today's or yesterday's, but I do have plans to catch that up this weekend. And Nuri does not post, there's not a post on Saturday, so it kind of gives you like a break and an opportunity to catch up. So I will do that this weekend, but it's a really fun stitch and it's very enlightening. I have been, because it's not just about the stitching, right? It's about the advocate, the learning. And so I've been watching Crash Course History. It's a YouTube channel, and they have a whole, I think it's a 52 episode playlist for Black history. And so it starts with the beginning of enslavement and the Middle Passage, and all the way up through history. I am somewhere around the move of many Black people out of the South and into the cities. That's, I think, the last one that I listened to, like why there was this move north and west post emancipation. So it's really great. I've learned a lot, and things that I learned when I was little that didn't quite register, like, are registering differently for me now, which I think is the point, right? As an example, I grew up, my early years, I grew up in Virginia. Virginia colonial history was a big part of our curriculum in elementary school. We lived not that far from Jamestown, which was the first successful English settlement in North America, along with Roanoke, which was the first unsuccessful. But anyways, I don't remember learning that slaves came with the colonialists to Jamestown and were a big part of the success of that community. I had no idea. Like, we didn't learn that part. At least I don't remember learning that part. So, as an example, that is something that stuck with me. We just learned about John Smith and Pocahontas and, like, the flashy things, and not the ugly things. So, okay. Whips is where I think I'm at next. And so now you're going to start seeing scroll rods. So I don't exclusively stitch on scroll rods now. I do plan to still stitch in hand for small things, but I was really trying to find a way, without getting into it too much because I said I wasn't going to, I was trying to find a way to manage my bigger pieces. So in the spirit of bigger pieces, this is my Modern Folk Embroidery 2023 Stitch Along Reaching Skyward. And this is where I am so far. So I am partway into February. I completed a little bit more than I was supposed to. January was supposed to cut off like in here somewhere. I did a little bit more. So like I was to the bottom of these vases across when I started February. I should probably put something behind this. I'm sorry. I'm getting used to this new setup and what I need to do for this new camera. It's a little bit different. I like it a lot. I'm enjoying it. I sat down to start February and realized that, which tree? This vase was one stitch too far this way, and it was going to make everything off. I ended up not pulling the whole thing out. I was able to like kind of fudge the base and just pull a few stitches out and move the bottom over, but like this main part of the tree all had to come out and be restitched because it was going to influence this whole base. I love the spirit of what Jacob did with like splitting the months out into like the segments that he did. I don't think I can follow along that way for a couple of reasons. One, these are the alternate option, and so those are only little tiny pieces in the back of the book that you have to stitch. It's not like in the main pattern. There's not two main patterns. So reference points are a little bit more difficult, and I have stitched a ton, and I've learned a ton in my 15 months of stitching, but I haven't been stitching for years, so there's still times where counting is an issue for me. Additionally, I went like hard into holiday stitching at the beginning of November, if I'm being quite honest. I didn't do exclusively holiday stitching in November, but I had the itch really bad from the beginning of November. So, and in the spirit of wanting to finish this and keep up within 2023, I want to stitch a little bit more than what's expected for each month, so I'm not focusing as much on this, or at all, if possible, in November and December, because I don't want that, like, I need to get it done and now it's January kind of thing. Because even in January, when I was working on my 2022 stitch along to wrap that up, I was still wanting to holiday stitch, to be perfectly honest. So, so that's another reason why I don't necessarily want to follow along. But knowing that I made that one little tiny mistake and it impacted so much of my stitching, I decided that I needed to outline before I got going. And so I did end up purchasing this on for a PDF as well. I have the paper chart from Evertote. I did decide to spend the extra money to get the PDF from Jacob's website so that I could have Pattern Keeper, so that when I'm at least doing the structure is the same version to version. So when I get the structure in, and I'm not going to do the whole structure because if I mess up, I'm not going to realize it until I go back and do the fill-in. But I want to get so this is about as far as I want to go for a little while. So getting like the skeleton of it in there so that I can do the fill-in and make sure it's right before I move on. And I don't like to like stop in the middle. Sorry, I'm working on my pointing. I don't like to stop in the middle of a motif and then and then move on to something else because I'm done with, that's where it ends for this month's stitching. Like, it makes more sense for me to finish the motif, make sure everything is right. So that's what I've decided to do. So you can see I've done my fill-in, or my outline, sorry, and then there we go. I've started to go back and do the tree and get the reindeer in. So yeah, I'm loving this. I stitched on this for a few days exclusively, with the exception of getting my portrait done. But I have moved on a little bit because there's other things that I've been wanting to work on too. So I rarely put something down because I'm sick of it. I usually put it down because I have something else. One benefit of my scroll frames is I'm finally able to use, where did it go? Sorry, my viewfinder is different than on my phone. I can use my needle minders now. So I have Jacob on there. I don't know that Evertote has any more of these. These came in this, there's a sampler September pack. Someone just got it. They posted on Instagram that they just got it. It's the Mary Harry bag set, floss set chart, and then I think there's an option to add the needle minder to that. So look for the Mary Harry set on Evertote and see if they still have needle minders. My next one, I didn't bring up like my bag with my charts and stuff in it. You guys have seen this before. Oh, I was going to take this off the frame so that you can see. Well, let's try it like that. This is There Is Always Room from Maximum Cross Stitch. And I think last time I finished the flower border, I had a few more of the raspberry puree that goes inside those red flowers to finish. And then it's really subtle when you look at, hold on, I've got floss on my lap that I need to put down. It's really subtle, but here it's not focusing. There's like that pink inside the flowers. I had some of that to finish up. And then I did a little tiny bit more in the house. And then the big stitching difference was those 2 flower pots I got done last night. So I think before, when you saw it last, I just had one of these pots done. And then I started the trees that go next to it. These have birds that sit on top of them, so I've got those done. Yeah, so this will come out again when we talk about plans. But I'm loving this stitch. And really wanting to focus on it because there's a new chart that I need to be ready to work on. I'm peering into my basket of scroll frames, which I will show you in a second. Like, it's been a week and a half. It's actually been a week since I made this decision. I've gone hard into this. So I am a week into it, prepared to do a pretty comprehensive review of scroll frames and how to stitch and hand in them, because when I go and get into something, I don't do it halfway. That's just not my personality. So here I am, keeping it real. I swear, like, the ladies at my LNS, they're like, I just buy random things, and they're like, oh, like, what are you, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you can't figure out what I'm doing based on what, like, I bought, like, charts, some floss, no, I didn't buy floss, charts, some yarn, and then, like, giant scroll frames that don't really equate to what I'm buying. They're like, oh, are you working on a big project? I'm like, oh, I'm just trying out scroll frames. Like, don't try to make sense of what I'm doing, because I don't make sense to many people. Anyways, so my first project, so the moral of the story is, I went to my LNS very quickly before they closed, right before they closed on Friday evening last week, after I had posted and got some. I was going to do it anyways, but I just wanted other tips and tricks, and like, am I crazy like that I want to try this? And I was like, I'm going to buy a 14-inch scroll frame because that's going to fit most of my pieces. I don't need any wider than that. Right? So you can imagine that I was wrong. But the one piece that I had that I wanted to put on a scroll frame that fit the 14-inch was Hibernation Day by Heartstrings. Oh my gosh, Geraldine. There we go. So I didn't do a ton of stitching. You probably don't recognize much difference from last time. I had a piece of white thread in the roof there that was started and not finished, which is not typical of me. I usually don't like to put things down until the thread is gone. So I did that stitching as a way to test out in hand, because I was like, I bought the wrong size. I'm going back to my LNS tomorrow and I'm going to buy like 3 of the right size. I'm like, Geraldine, like, calm down. So instead, I stitched on this to give her a try. I think I might have put 2 threads in, actually. I was very happy with the results, and then decided to also go back to my LNS that next morning on my way out of town to grab two more. I'm keeping it real. 2 more scroll frames. And I also put an order in through Amazon, so that by the time I got home from being out of town on Monday, I had several waiting for me between my Amazon purchase and the ones that I had grabbed on my way out of town. So yeah, that's Hibernation Day. Love, love, love that piece. I want to stitch more on it. One more whip. 2 more. Nope, I lied. Did I stitch on? 2 more. 1 more whip. I didn't stitch on Dog's Declaration. It's on a scroll rod though, because anything I might want to pick up, it's got to be ready to go. That's my other thing. If it's not ready to go, I'm not going to stitch on it. So like, as I've gotten scroll frames in, I've loaded them up, and I'll talk more about that in my scroll frame thing. Okay, here is my last piece. Again, I'm sorry I don't have the chart with me right now. This is Rosewood Manor Turkish Delight with the Evertote Roxy Floss Co conversion, where we use, this is that chart that has like that really bright pink fabric and like blues and teal colors. This one, Carrie did the conversion for pinks and purples and teals, and then we use the white fabric. So I'm loving this stitch. I said I worked on it. Actually, I think it's upside down. Technically, it's doesn't matter. It's the piece of fabric is square, and this part of the pattern is geometric. But I worked on I think I might have had that flower done the last time you saw it, so I worked on this flower over here. And then it was close enough to start the border, and so I started the border and came around, messed up, and had to do a couple things there. So I think before I keep doing the border, I want to get the flowers in place so that I have better placement. I keep saying this, but what I'll probably do is, now that I have like the satisfaction of seeing what these look like and they're beautiful, I can go back in and be a little bit more diligent's not the right word, but I don't know what the right word is, but like go through and like one color here and then do it all the way around the piece, so that, because I like to work in, I don't necessarily like to color complete, but I don't like to put down my needle if there's floss of that color on it if I don't have to. So for these things where it's just a little, like I did here with these little tiny pieces, I'm going to go around and complete that color so that I'm building them all together as they go along. But I really love this piece. It's on 46 count, so it's pretty tiny. I have not worked on this since I put it on the scroll frame, but I did work on it since my last FlossTube. So, and I've got my Evertote needle minder on there from the holiday countdown. And I was super excited to get this. I think it's Great Lakes in. It's like it looks black, but it's a really dark blue. It's beautiful. I wanted to get that border in because I love that color, and I wanted to see how it plays with all of these brighter colors. So very happy with this. Good job, Carrie. Yeah. I think I'm done with whips. So, let's do call, and then we can do plans. So, I think the day after I filmed my last video, I got this book. I think I saw that Dee had this, from Dee's 20 Stitches. They had a paperback version. I think they actually said they have multiple copies of it, and they might give some away or something. But maybe it was only to people who live in Canada. I don't remember. I was like, I'm just going to buy my own because it's really cool. So this is a William Morris cross-stitch book. So they're cross-stitch patterns based on William Morris's designs. And there's like a whole slew of them in here. And it's really fun. So I got this on Amazon used. There's this like rabbit one. Whoop, but it's really cute. Sorry, glare. There we go. Just really quick. I don't want to spend a ton of time, but maybe just page through a few that I might want to stitch. I like this it's a footstool. I have to look at it closer. It's 20 by 20, 16 count Aida, so I can't imagine. It's 200 by 200 stitch count, and it says you need a 20 by 20 piece of Aida. But it's pretty, it's cool. And yeah, so that, let me see too. So these are all based on tapestry and fabric designs that William Morris. So something to kind of old school to kind of check out. The strawberry birds, I think, are popular. I've seen those before, and I believe they're in here. Are they on the back? No. Sorry. I should have like gone through and bookmarked this, but yeah. I like the colors in this one. The Whoop Whoop Peace House. Peace be in this house is what it says. There's just a lot of neat, like, different ideas. They're bird pillows, and I feel like I've seen this strawberry bird somewhere. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's 3 little pillows. So those are fun too. So I like the tapestry look. It feels a little bit more artistic, and maybe something that I could eventually stitch and like put not in my craft room. Yeah. In that spirit, I have one that's coming today. I'm sorry, I don't remember who you were. I was watching a FlossTuber, and they had these like old school Christmas books from Leisure Arts. It might have been Helen D, maybe. But they're just these like old school. I basically just searched for leisure arts on Amazon. Some of them I wasn't really impressed with. I'm not a full covered stitcher. But this one, the Santa's Great book, has like old school Santas in it. And so like they were like $5 or $6. I didn't buy any that were expensive. And I tried to look at pictures to see, like, either in the listing or, like, in the comments to see what was in here. But I just thought they would be fun to have, to look through, to pull out little pieces. Like, this one has some Christmas ornament type page with all different things. There's some religious stuff in here, which is fine. Like, there's a nativity, playing in the snow, like this old school Santa. I mostly like it for the old school Santas. My mother-in-law, when my husband was little, painted these like old world Santas, like figurines with, I'm assuming it's acrylic paint, and it's like, her work is beautiful. Like, I am not that detailed. Like, there is no mistake. Like, none of the colors overlap each other. Everything is where it belongs. And those Santas remind me of those, and I like to put those out. There's like one that's like yellow, and he's dressed as a fisherman. They're just really fun. So whether I stitch any of these or not, while these were in existence and available in the world, I wanted to have some. And so, like I said, there's one more. It's probably sitting on my porch right now, but again, I like ran home to get this filmed. So I'm excited about those. Those will go in my stash. No immediate plans to stitch any of those. And a half. My closet is a little bit more organized. I have like a bin of kitted things, and then I have my bin of I either need to put it away, or it's multi-purpose. I need to put it away, or because it's haul, but it's time to put it, I've already shown you, or I want to stitch this soon, kitted stuff. It's a little bit of both. And it is, the chart that I was looking for is Lucy Barber. This is the Traditional Stitches Hands Across the Sea exclusive, and it's the stitch along for this year. I believe it's starting February 14th. I finally got the threads, and I wanted to start it like right away, and then no, because I really want to get Ellen's chart done. I'm really enjoying that. And when I start something new, I love it, but I also feel guilty that I'm like cheating on my other whips. So again, we're managing those feelings. But Traditional Stitches sent me the thread and the floss. No, it's no fault of theirs that I have it. So it's not late, but like it took a while. I was waiting a long time. What happened was I ordered the chart because it's exclusive, and thought I can always get the fabric and the thread later. I don't need to stitch it right now. And then I got the chart and the thread. I showed it in a few floss tubes ago, and the mini McBean's scissor fob. And then I had to have the fabric and the floss. So I ordered the SWA 103, which they had. I think they had the SWA, that they had the thread in stock. They were waiting for more linen, so they didn't ship until they had the linen. So here are the 103 colors for that piece. They're really pretty. I'm very excited to stitch this. I put them in. My husband got me this case from my Amazon wish list. I don't remember what it's called, but it's made to hold like Gutermann embroidery. I mean, it holds all of these kinds of plastic spools, but the Gutermann embroidery thread is a similar spool. So this will be really nice. The lid, I was worried, like the lid is decently tight. Like I think if I put this in a bag, as long as I wasn't crazy with it, like it would stay pretty good. Like it's not hard to open, but there's definitely enough friction there that I'm not worried that it's like immediately going to spill everywhere. And then it is Tabby Cat linen, which I believe has to come from Germany, in wood smoke. So I don't know when I'm going to start this. I keep hemming and hawing about starting it. Like I said, I want to get that chart from Ellen done. There's always room. And then maybe I'll make a decision. I'm trying. it's one of those things where I'll be sad I didn't start it, but I'll be mad that I did. So you can't win. Okay, I talked about these last time, so let's show you those. I was waiting. Remember, I got the hands-on design. I got the chart for her seasonal Mad for Plaid is what it's called, from 141 Chantel, who also does like a bunch of woodworking type things. So I got the On the Edge that goes with that, and then I talked about last video, she had these, they're like border guides, so when you're finishing, if you want one of those borders, you can set that and make sure that you get your piece, excuse me, centered how you want it. I think this might also come in handy for lacing, to know where I need to start my like edging, that I do like a basting stitch, to know where my edge of my lacing, like the edge of the board is going to sit on the linen is going to sit on the edge of the board, so to line that up without having to just use my little seam gauge and then extend it over. I think that will help a lot. So I'm excited to have these for finishing. When I went to my L&S to get scroll rods, I mentioned that I grabbed a few other things that were random and didn't make any sense to the ladies at the checkout. They had a few charts on sale, so I had to have them. So the hands-on design is called First Frost, and it's these funny, like, I feel like I've seen another pattern with these. I don't know, I have a weakness for winter. I don't know what's wrong, but I do. So winter and Christmas. So I got those. Those are cute. Again, no immediate plans to stitch them. They're a little pale for my taste. I like the browns, but I think I would probably like punch up the teals and that gray a little bit when I stitch them. So we'll see about that. That's going to go in my stash. They had a Hands Across the Sea chart for $14. Don't know that I've seen this one before. It's a little odd. I need to open it and read the history. Some of the shapes are just kind of odd. Like there's a bird feeding her babies, and like you have to look really close on the model to see that that's what's actually happening. But I thought for $13, $14 it was fun. And it is, I shouldn't tell you who it was, Eliza Johnson, 1828. So that one will go in my stash as well. If life was a thing that money could buy. So it says, if life was a thing that money could buy, the rich would live, but the poor would die. And it's a little pastel-y for me. I think I would look at the colors and probably punch it up again, but it's going in my stash. Nothing immediate about that. And then there was this blackbird, and I know enough about blackbird to know that it's desirable. I don't know enough about blackbird to know what's in print and what's out of print, and what to grab and what not to grab. But for $9.50, they had this Snow Garden Anniversaries of the Heart. I'm sure they've had it there for a while, and I've just passed it up. But it's pattern 1 of Anniversaries of the Heart, and it's from 2010. So I don't know if it's a reprint. I don't know anything about it, but I grabbed it because it's cute, and someday this is the thing with things like this, like someday I'm going to want to stitch it and I'm not going to be able to get my hands on it and I'll have missed it. So for $9.50, it calms my anxiety, maybe. Yeah, so that's that. That's my haul from my local needle store. My local L&S is redundant. So from Traditional Stitches, I made my confession a few FlossTubes ago that I wasn't going to get the Martha Evans 1879, which is a Scarlet House chart that was reproduced with Brenda, from Brenda and the Serial Starter in mind for her 60th birthday. So they had the chart. They are kitting the SWA 103 for me, but they didn't have all the colors because I think everybody wants the chart and wants to stitch it in those. So here's Martha Evans. I got the chart, and they'll be sending me the SWA 103 once they have them. So I have the chart now. It's gorgeous. It's pretty. I'm excited to do that someday. In all of the samplers that I'll never have time to stitch. Okay, last one was some haul from Acorns and Threads. My battery is running low, so I'm a little bit distracted. So there was the homespun group. Oh, there's a thing in front of the pattern. The homespun group on Facebook had an exclusive from Acorns and Stacy Nash. It's Caroline's sampler pouch. So here is the front of the pouch. And then here's what the back of the pouch looks like. It's super cute. I'm excited. It's designed exclusively for homespun needlework, cross stitch, and samplers. I have no plans to stitch this, but it's cute and I had to have it. The house is adorable. There's like little dogs and flower pots, and I'm a sucker for like one of those like quilty barn like star things, whatever they're called. And it came with a That's So Kelly Bitty Keep, which I have one and I've used it and I don't love it. I'm going to preface that because that sounded not great. I don't love using it as a thread keep, putting my threads on here. At least not in the way that I did for that last time I used it. But I had talked about how I have been pulling like a few strands out of my thread cards and reorganizing them so I don't have like this big wad of thread for my projects, and then I like squirrel away the rest and label it so that I can grab the rest of what I need if I run out. Anyway, so it would maybe be handy for that. So I might try it that way. It's just really tight for like big wads of thread and then it's all hanging. But what I do like about it is it has this thread bed and it has there's a magnet under here so that you can put your needle on it. So I think I will still use this. I think I'm just going to use it like as like with my stitching, as a place to put like my threads as I'm changing threads instead of having to put it back on the thread card. I can keep it here if I know I'm going to use it again. So I think this might come out and actually like be like a while I'm everyday stitching kind of thing. And then it came with the thread and the linen and then the wool for the inside of the bag. So really fun. It's getting a little bit blown out. It's kind of more mustard. It's maybe a little bit better. The colors are really fun. I think the dark blue and the teal and the red kind of punch up the more muted color palette of the rest of it. So again, I have things that I really want to be stitching, so I don't have like immediate plans to stitch those, but it's definitely going in my stash. I'm a sucker for you can never get this again situations. There is a note in here about linen. There was some drama on the homespun group. I try not to get caught up in it. I'm not worried. I stitch in hand. Well, I used to. So I'm going to be just fine. And it makes sense that you build it so that you don't have to waste linen or have a ton of seam allowance. So it will be fine. You will have enough linen. And then, because I was shopping at Acorns, I finally broke down, I've been looking at this for a while, and purchased Sambry Stitch's Yeti chart. So there's not actually a Yeti in this. She has a thing, she lives in the Pacific Northwest and she loves Yetis. It doesn't actually have a Yeti in it, but that house in the middle, which she's right, sort of looks like one. So the way that the house is with like its turrets and then like the steps and then like the path leading out to the garden, like totally makes it look like a Yeti. So that will also be going in my stash. And that's my haul. And my battery is almost dead. So I think it's time to go. The only other haul I have is scroll rod related, so we won't talk about that. I hope, oh, plans. Oh my gosh, plans. So I will, it's Finish It Up weekend, Off the Grid Needle Art, special event. And so I have some plans around that. I am going to do a couple things. So I'm going to count catching up my portraits as a finish. I am going to, there's always room. I lost my board. I am going to try and get the bottom done down here underneath the house. So there's two variables, one on each side, and then there's the cartouche with the quote over one that is, there is always room at the table. That is my goal for that piece. Funny enough, Caroline, I swear I had this goal before I heard, but she has one variable and the cartouche done. She's gonna try to finish the other variable as a part of her get it done weekend, or finish it up weekend. So we're both stitching variables this weekend, which will be kind of fun. I thought about one of my goals being the row of trees on hibernation day. Oop, I don't know that I'll do that though. I really want to stitch on this piece more, but I want to do more on, I want to get a good weekend day, at least in my Reaching Skyward Modern Folk Embroidery Sal, because I do. Because I want more stitches in that. So I don't know that I ever finished that thought. So if I stitch every month, I have to get 12, is that math right? Math's not right. 8% done. So I have to be up to 16% by the end of the month to be on track. If I want to do 10 months, I have to be at 20%, and I'm currently right around 12%. So I either want to get to 16 or 20, depending on how the weekend goes, in Reaching Skyward. And so that will be my last goal for that one. I feel like I had another goal, and now I don't remember what it was. It escaped me. One of my goals is to get my whip cart reorganized, and find a place for my scroll rod holder, which is a giant laundry basket that I found on Amazon. So yeah, because it's not just buying the scroll frames, right? It's like all of the accoutrement and like the storage for it and all of the things. I had a panic about retreats, and do people take scroll rods to retreats? I'm running out of battery. I have to go. So those are my plans, just to keep working on There's Always Room, Reaching Skyward, maybe pick up some Turkish Delight, because I need a little Turkish Delight in my life. And then next Tuesday, the coffee sale starts with Evertote with Caroline. So that is the Heartstring Samplery. Oh no. I have it all, I was looking at it, so it's all like in here messed up. So I got it. That was my last finish. So I finished it up weekend. Finish kidding, because I gotta like get it. Am I gonna put it on a scroll rod? What am I gonna do? And get the flosses rewound in the length that I like them. For C is for coffee. So that is my last finish, is to get that ready so that on Tuesday, once all of our family Valentine's Day festivities are over, I can start stitching that. So, okay, I really gotta go before my battery dies. You've had enough of me. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining me, thanks for listening to my spiel at the beginning. That is really more cross-stitch adjacent and just like human being important. Please take a moment to like and follow me. Subscribe. This is your first time here. Thank you for coming if you stuck with me. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the conversation and the community. And I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.